All right. Good morning, everybody. We are coming in live this morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, with a very special guest, Lynelle. Good morning, Lynelle.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing so well. So I am just going to do our couple checks here to make sure we're actually indeed going live into the group and see if anybody wants to pop on and join us this morning.
I am
For
not seeing you right now.
Okay, not yet in the group.
Nope.
All
It
right.
says it's waiting for the broadcast to start.
Okay. I might have to turn off some, I don't know where my phone is. We've got some Wi-Fi things going this morning. Okay, we're waiting for some folks to pop on here. If you do happen to be coming in live with us, please introduce yourself. Let us know where you're coming from in the world. And I see we're live. Perfect. We've got one guest joining us. Welcome. Let us know where you're coming from in the world. And good morning. So we have a very special guest here today, Lynelle Garfield. Lynelle, where are you in the world?
I am in the East Sierra. I'm in the southwest area of Reno, Nevada on the Truckee River right now.
Awesome. Wonderful. And Lynelle brings us so much wisdom today. I'm going to do a little introduction of who she is here in a second. But first, I just wanted to introduce everybody to this live morning show idea that I've been cooking up for a while. I've been testing it a little bit by having some interviews with some amazing people. And I thought, you know what? Why not just go live every single morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and start our day with some inspiration, some tools to get us through the rest of, oh, yeah, we're good. So with some tools, with some inspiration, and with some community. I've always thought that the entrepreneurial journey doesn't have to be a solo journey. And so this morning show is the beginning of bringing us all together and making us feel like we're a part of something as we get our days started. So thank you for taking the leap and being my first official guest, Lynelle.
Absolutely. I have two screens going and I'm having some technical stuff on my end. So if I'm not making eye contact, I am going to be doing my best to patch them together. So I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're good. I think when you, look over to the right a little bit, I think that's the screen. So you're great. Okay. Awesome. So I want to just introduce Lynelle to everybody here. And she is one of my, what I call multi-passionate, multifaceted humans that does so much and helps so many people. We call her the wellness scientist because of her background both in science and health and wellness. So as an eco-toxicologist, ordained minister, member of the Rainbow Tribe, global traveler, global citizen, once upon a time shaman's apprentice, ancient educator, coach, wellness guide, and facilitator. Lynelle brings us, decades of experience with her wisdom and bringing us what she kind of calls like these baskets of opportunity. And one thing that you do so well is holding space for others and really helping them tap into their own inner wisdom, which I think is a true gift from someone who has experienced and been a part of your circles, both from a one-on-one perspective and a group perspective. So thank you again for being here, and I am just delighted. So I kind of wanted to start off with, I am not in my normal digs here, if you can't tell. I am in Brooklyn, New York, doing a workcation actually for the week, and it was nuts, y'all, to get here just from Connecticut yesterday. There were just these random speed bumps and things happening along the way. And then I remembered that Mercury's in retrograde. And I thought, okay, like that just makes a lot of sense. And I decided at the last leg of my trip, I was like, I'm just going to take an Uber because I'm not going to get into an underground subway station today. And then I thought, someone who has always helped me tap into what's going on, you know, above us in the stars, all around us, the energy we're feeling, and then what kind of tools we can use to ground us. I just wanted to start, Lynelle, by talking about what's going on, maybe, you know, what not, maybe not just Mercury in retrograde, but in general, and how folks can tap into that energy, and then what maybe tools they can utilize to get us through this period right now.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you touched on this because I'm feeling it and I know you're feeling it. So, you know, it sounds a little bit woo-woo to be talking about astrology and science, right? And I think that I bring a unique perspective because as we are working on, you know, getting through our day and scheduling and planning and having this very Western mindset of being in control, right? We've got to remember that we're made up of water. We're on the planet that is a large part water, and the planet's water is being controlled by the external influences of the universe, right? And all of the planetary happenings. And so that's, it's bigger than global, right? It's universal. It's the moon pulls on us. The moon pulls on our water just like it pulls on the tides. And if anybody has any friends who have ever worked in an emergency room, they'll tell you it's wild on the full moon, right? I mean, this is absolutely showing how connected we are to what's going on out there. So as we are going towards the new moon, we've got a new moon coming in about 10 days time. And I typically love to hold new moon circles rather than full moon circles. And I'm going to get to that in just a second, but specifically, the waning moon is all about tapping into our gratitude and our thankfulness, right? This is the time for us to be doing that internal work. And as we are moving towards the new moon, it gets closer and closer to being about surrender. And so when we pair that up with the Mercury retrograde, Mercury is all about transportation and technology and communication. And we start feeling there's a little hiccup happening, right? With things that we have perhaps planned, perhaps gotten, you know, schedules aligned for. And if we can find ourselves in a place where we are more of that international global traveler, right? Where we are missing a bus in India. Okay, the next one's in 35 minutes. All right. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to go have a chai and everything's going to be fine, right? If we can bring that more to our present state of mind to get through this Mercury retrograde, we're going to have such a better time of it. So yes, it might be inconvenient, but it's actually a blessing because it's asking us and forcing us to return to the present moment. And that surrender of, okay, maybe there was going to be a bus crash in 2 blocks time, and maybe that's why I'm not on it right now, right? So yeah, I love following the moon phases because it helps me as a very strong Western mindset scientist type to be more mindful and just to be more in a state of flow, which is, I think, what we all miss when we're not traveling globally, honestly, because that present moment and gratitude for what's right here is a really great state to be in. And that's part of the magic of going to the other side of the marble, right? So
Yes.
That's my read on where we're at right now.
As someone who has gone to the other side of the marble in the last week, and just did it pretty much following some intuition and heart, I have found that I have really had to just recenter and go back into the present moment more than maybe I was sitting in my apartment in Reno, which is fascinating. I'm a lot more present, even I think too, we're just appreciating getting out into the world more because we couldn't for so long. But yeah, that's so helpful. And knowing that, that's interesting that, so we're moving to the new moon half of the month, and then we're moving to the full moon the other half of the month. So that's kind of, I like that way of thinking of it. It's like, okay, we're waning or we're waxing. I've always heard the words waning and waxing, but I've never thought of it as, oh, I'm moving towards the new moon, or, oh, I'm moving towards the full moon. So that's great. And I love that you touched on the circles that you host around the new moon. Is there a reason why, or a, you know, method behind the madness of hosting a new moon circle versus a full moon circle?
This is kind of my secret sauce. So I'm
Okay.
glad you asked. So the full moon, right? There's a lot of people that get together and have a very outward experience with the full moon. When we get together under the full moon, we're very energized, right? We're all about releasing and setting those intentions and just letting them fly. And there's a lot of, exuberance and very young sort of activity typically. I really love the new moon because I have been in my life, I've spent a lot of time in the dark night of the soul. And that's what I call this deep inner reflection. And maybe there's a quiet desperation that's there if we feel that we're isolated in it and we're not sure what to do with that. I think that there can be a lot of fear around the shadows, our own shadows, right? Because our own shadows are reflecting what's going on in the outer world that we consider to be shadow. And I think we've got a lot of judgment around that. And so if we can come together, surrender to what's divine, surrender to our own inner shadow and perhaps inner child needs, we can really get at the divine that's within, and we can really feel a kinship with the planet, the deep darkness. For women specifically, right? We go into our moon cycle every month. And I think that the men feel it too, but perhaps less consciously, right? We've got a 28, 29 and a half day cycle that we process through each month. And it keeps us a little bit more tapped in, I think, to that perhaps shadow side, the dark womb, the bleeding, the connection with the tides and the water, right? And so when I gather new moon circles, I provide that basket, as you say, and it's actually one of my favorite analogies. I've got a basket hanging up here behind me because it is about creating sacred space and time and allowing our inner wisdom to surface. And everyone enjoys a good guided meditation, and that's just one aspect, right? So when we are in circle together and we are having those percolations of insight, I love really allowing for people to journal and capture what has come up for them very much in their own pod of sacred space and time. And then with the people that join me for my Moon Circles program, we work with a one-on-one appointment later on towards the full moon to really help uncover whatever is up for them. And perhaps that's what's arisen during the new moon time, right? Because when we are quiet enough and we feel safe and collected and held enough, those insights can be life-changing. And that's where it gets really exciting because with my science and with my ability to hold people in process, we get to play in the wellness world, which is, whole wellness being, which is emotional and mental and physical and spiritual. It's all of it. And in some cases, it's financial, right? So we have tools that help move that needle forward. And I love working with clients and seeing those sparks of insight and then helping them get to the next level with it. So
Wonderful.
That's really a passion for me, and I love it.
Wonderful. And I see that we have some folks hopping on here. So if you are coming on, please comment anything that's coming through, any insights you want to share, questions for Lynelle. She'll go ahead and answer those questions as well after we get off the live. Let us know where you're coming from. And we just really want to make this conversational, especially moving forward with all of these morning shows. So hope you guys are able to join me live, 8 a.m. Pacific every single morning with a guest. And Lynelle, I just love, so you hold these spaces around the new moon circle, and thanks for going deeper into that, why the new moon time. That was really helpful. As we have all these creators, change makers, business birthing, humans listening to this right now, specifically in this group, I'm curious, one thing I want to touch on, one more thing with the moon cycles, is how we can move through these creations and these business cycles with the moon? And is that something that you help your clients and or participants with as well? And I'm just curious if you've got kind of some general insights for us around how we can align our business practices.
Absolutely. Well, every one of us that is a business owner or a maker or a creator, our heart is at the center of those efforts. And so if we're feeling torn, if we're feeling like we are stuck, then our business is going to reflect that, right? So coaching for me spans across all of the boundaries. I like to joke that there's no box big enough because it's true. The new moon energy is about new intentions, new beginnings. It's about kicking off and going from being in the receptive mode to the creation mode, right? So when we are thinking about reflecting, we're thinking about reviewing how our old intentions were and where we want to be going. This is a powerful time to be moving forward and really allowing our inner self to unfurl, because we're here to manifest our soul's mission. And I don't want to get real woo-woo, but it's true, right? So when we are coming through the new moon process, it's about creating new content. It's about holding that new intention and really moving with it, perhaps not releasing it yet, but using and harnessing that energy of what we've gleaned from the new moon process and carrying that forward and allowing those intentions to grow and develop and unfurl. I always think of a dragonfly wing, right? They're just coming out with this unfurling of the most beautiful translucent dream time. We get to use this moon of love to bring us into effectiveness and bring us into a true juicy creation phase. That is the waxing moon. So yes, I absolutely love it for that. And it's been powerful for my own business and for my clients to be able to move through that decision-making process and that creation and manifestation phase most effectively by working with the moon energy.
Where are we today, right now? We're in more of a creation, or no, we're in more of a receptive phase?
We are actually, because it's before the third quarter moon, right? We're 10 days out from the new moon. And so when we're 7 days out, we'll be at the third quarter moon. That's when the moon looks like a perfect half in the sky. And that is when we will move into the receptive phase. So right now we're in the demonstration phase. We are all about really shifting and moving into the internal work of marketing. And we're just about ready to release what it is that we created. So yes, my new website is having some eruptions happening and unfurlings tomorrow, because as we're approaching that third quarter moon, it's like the energy is popping. So with the one-on-ones that I do with my clients, when we're doing those at the full moon, that is about really sealing intentions and releasing, and then moving forward into, okay, I've put it out there to the universe and I am asking for the highest intention. What does it actually look like? It might look really different than what our egoic mind has created for us. But if we hold the seed essence of what it is our mission is here on earth, then the universe is going to show up, and it's going to show up in amazing ways. Just like when you missed that bus in India and you had to wait for the next one and you avoided that broadside or whatever it was that wasn't intended to happen. So it's pretty exciting stuff, really, when we bring together personal wellness, business wellness, and all the creation and manifestation that can happen between those two. And our outer world and our outer business always reflects the state of our inner world. So that's where, we can back up a little bit and work as human beings to be in alignment as much as we can, and then move that forward out into our business with that new energy and that new exploration that we're able to do together.
Beautiful. So, that's super helpful. Well, look who's launching her morning show during right before the third quarter. Go Fran. Who knew?
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
It's because I hang out with people like Lynelle.
I'm so glad to be here with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, as you all can tell, Lynelle is a very special human being who has so much to offer. And you just touched on it, but I want to kind of segue and dive a little bit deeper into this. So not only do you host group, new moon circles and around, sometimes the solstice, the equinox, or the full moon, or sorry, the new moon. But you then, as an option, you do some personal one-on-one wellness coaching. And I love that it's around the full moon. And it feels like a time when that one-on-one care would be really important now that I'm getting to know kind of the difference between the new moon and the full moon energy. And so with your one-on-one folks, and I really love, I help people all day, as you know, construct business models and design their businesses in ways that really work for them and their clients. And what Lynelle has done in this very creative kind of hybrid fashion is connected her group offering to her one-on-one offerings through the natural cycle of the moon. And I just want to touch on what they can join the new moon circle, but then they can also get a follow-up one-on-one with you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So my programs are running on the moon cycles, but what we do is we use the new moon to cast those intentions forward. So folks come in for the new moon, they can either do a drop-in, or my programs are actually so rewarding for me and for my clients, because that pairs up the community experience, right, with the follow-up one-on-one that is about a week and a half to 2 weeks later. And that is all about you. It's all about whatever has arisen for you during your meditation. It's all about what's been percolating and what you've really been wanting to work on the most. And so it's very customized, right? It's either a Zoom call or we can do in-person appointments. And it's about moving that system, that priority, whatever the burning desire is, forward so that you get to meet your dreams and your goals. And then we work through a 6-month cycle. There are shorter cycles available, but the consistency of showing up and actually having a little accountability, we all know that when we show up for someone else, even if it's all about work on ourselves, we tend to get further with our commitments. And so, in desiring to move things forward, I really love having that group work and the one-on-one work. And I also take clients because some people don't want to do circle. Some people don't want to be in community, and I take one-on-one wellness clients as well with my ritual reset programs. So yeah, there's something for everyone. And I love bringing together the more esoteric because there's a great need for it. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think Lynelle, you're so helpful, and I've known you for quite a few years now. So I've gotten the pleasure of working with you and experiencing all of your goodness. But I think we always talk about like the secret sauce or your uniqueness, what makes you, you, right? When we're kind of constructing this form of self-expression, which can also be called a business. And for Lynelle, it is really and truly the fact that she can think big, bring what's happening on a larger plane, and then really bring it down into you, where you are today, what your wellness goals are, and how you can move yourself forward again, but looking and feeling like the whatever's happening in the ethers has got your back. And I love how you said with Mercury in retrograde, yes, my travel plans yesterday were kind of all out of whack. However, I can also think of it as really having a chance to ground and be back in the moment with all those kind of I did have those awkward 20 to 30 minute spaces in my travel. And I ended up going and sitting outside on a windowsill. Like I haven't sat in a windowsill. Like it was just like enough to sit. There was some other women from Europe kind of doing it. And I was like, I want to go do that. So I went and like just enjoyed the sun for 20 minutes sitting on a windowsill. So anyways, Lynelle is so good at tuning into the collective and also bringing it down to the individual. You always say something too that's so helpful, which is, we need to tend to the larger garden of Mother Earth, but then what are we doing today to tend to our own gardens?
Exactly.
And what are some, yeah, I would like to get into that a little bit. Like, what are some just tools, or where do you start when we're thinking of tending to our own garden? I know it's a big topic.
Well, I feel like, we can be as esoteric as we want, but what it comes down to for me, when we're thinking about wellness, it comes down to our nutrition, our digestion. It comes down to exercise and how much we're moving our body. How well are we moving our lymphatic system and taking out our trash? It comes down to how we're managing our stress and how good our sleep is. What's our sleep quality like? Not quantity necessarily, but quality. When we're there, are we actually getting the quality of sleep that our brains need to reset? And then detoxing, right? We are exposed to things on a day by day basis that we do not intend to ingest. We don't intend to breathe. How well are we processing those things and getting them out of our bodies? I have a toxicology background, and I feel like there is so much there that we need to be tending to with our microbiome, the gut-brain axis, all of the connections between our flora and fauna inside. And those things are going to reflect outward into our relationships, into our business, into our day-to-day life. And they say how we spend our moments is how we spend our life. And so are we really lit up at what we're doing right now? Are we really feeling like we are showing up in all the ways and feeling excited about what we're doing? So I love taking people that are, oh my gosh, when you just feel like you are not excited about what you're doing, you feel like you're stuck in a rut, you feel like I'm not doing what I'm meant to be doing. There's some kind of unrest happening there. And it might be that there's a gut thing going on. It could be that there's too much stress. And I love taking people and helping them uncover and kind of pull on that thread a little bit. What is that there that's feeling like there's a pest in the garden, right? It could be super, super internal. And the way it's manifesting is not healthy, right? And that's how dis-ease comes in, is when there's something that's just not feeling in alignment. And I love helping people kind of dig a little bit deeper and take that to the next level, figure out what that is, reseed the garden if needed. It could be that we just need a little compost in the garden. It could be that you just need a little shade cloth over that one delicate little lettuce plant in the garden, right? So it's different for everyone. And when we take self-ownership and self-leadership, then we feel as good as we can feel. We light up with what we're doing. And that's how we help the world to shine brighter, because we're in our true, authentic selves, in alignment and shining our light as bright as we can. And that to me is what it's about. That's why we're here in these skin suits, right? So
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
love
Yes.
to share, my master class that's coming up actually tomorrow at noon Pacific.
Oh,
And
wonderful. Yeah, that was my next question.
yeah, it's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on Zoom. And my group on Facebook is called the Wellness Inspiration Group. You can also look for me as the Wellness Scientist. And it's just Lynelle Garfield, the Wellness Scientist. And you can link into my group that way. I will have the link put up. For right now, there's a registration link available, and then I'll be sending out that Zoom link to everyone who registers. So I super love it for you to join me on that. And that's where we get to take the personal wellness and apply it to global citizenry and stewardship. Because if we are in chronic pain, or we're in a state of dis-ease and not being lit up and just not feeling aligned, it's very hard for us to make those decisions for the 7th generation. It's very hard for us to take it to the global wellness and global planetary health perspective. And so I am excited to meet you and work with you and help, one more way of saving our planet by working on ourselves.
We need to tend to our own gardens before we can really go out and be the best self we can be. And Lynelle is a great resource for helping and starting you get there. So tell us one more time, your masterclass is tomorrow. It's live at noon Pacific, and we'll include the registration link right here in the comments. If you're feeling inspired today by anything Lynelle has said and you're curious to learn more and have that more intimate class with her, wonderful. Anything else that you want to add today? Closing thoughts? I know we went from Mercury retrograde to the moon phases and how that can really help and incorporate us with our personal wellness, with our business wellness. And then we segued over to, tending to our own garden and more of those personal wellness steps.
Yeah, so I welcome wellness consultations. I offer 30-minute wellness chats for free. You can find me on Facebook at Lynelle Garfield, the Wellness Scientist. The masterclass will be posted. I'd love it for people to use that as sort of a little bit of an appetizer for what I do. And I will be talking about things all the way around the world and back tomorrow. And what shakes out of that is, what are the tools that we get to use right here and now for lighting ourselves up and finding alignment internally so that we can show up in alignment in our business and in the world. And thank you so much, Fran. I'm super excited to continue our work together and to host this masterclass. I think it's going to be a great one.
Yes.
And the other thing is the Solstice Circle. I almost forgot. I have a big event coming up on June 19th. In our urban oasis here, and it's going to be from 4 to 7. It's a mini retreat, and we're going to be focusing on inner diversity and outer expansion, promoting diversity and honoring and celebrating diversity by getting together for the solstice. I'm actually out of town for the new moon in June, and so this is what we're doing in lieu of the new moon circle. And there will be some really good juicy stuff, healthy snacks, yoga nidra. We're gonna have some drumming, we're gonna have some guided meditation, all spun on that theme of, the summer solstice is our longest days and our shortest nights. And so this is really about expansion and the movements with Jupiter, right? Moving into the age of Aquarius. How do we really seize that energy and move into our best and brightest selves? By expanding and bringing the things forward and growing them in our garden that are going to serve the world the best. So I'd love for you to join me.
What better place to do that than in Lynelle's backyard garden oasis? And I just have to tell this quick story of turning COVID into a catalyst, which you're so good at, always just kind of looking at opportunities and following the light. So in the midst of, this pandemic, Lynelle started to host her new moon circles in her backyard. And because, we were all moving outside, and she's got this amazing oasis just feet away from her back door. So I just love that you did that, and you're going to carry them through in this post-pandemic world. Although I'm like, are we being a little too quick to say we're coming out already? We're just taking our little baby steps out into the world now. And if you are in person in the Reno Tahoe area, Lynelle's Backyard Oasis is an amazing place to hang out. I will definitely be there. And we really appreciate you holding space for our community, Lynelle, and in addition to all of the online communities and one-on-ones that you host. So thank you for spending this morning with us. And Lynelle's also a part of this business, conscious business community. So she's active in the group, and you can answer any questions that you might have or comments. Please comment in this video. We want to keep this as engaged as possible. And every single morning, I look forward to hanging out at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and really just bringing you all morning inspiration from amazing humans like Lynelle. So any other closing thoughts for us as we embark in our almost third quarter day, which is like a day of demonstration?
Right. Closing thoughts are, I think that I want to encourage anyone watching this to think about what it is that you're the most excited about, and let's work together to bring that forward. I really appreciate your being here, Fran. It's a huge service to the community for you to be hosting these every morning, and I'm super grateful to be your first one.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful day. And if you watch this at any time, please comment, and we'll see you all back in the morning.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Thank you, Lynelle. Ciao.
Thank you.